aboard. I'll take you wherever you want to go.
In that case, the Supreme Court in Whitehall, if you wouldn't mind.
And welcome to the center of the world. Great Britain's mighty capital, London.
So instead, we are here in a different capacity. As envoys to report the news of Kazuma-sama's death. So that's the second reason why we're here. To have you officially recognized as a lawyer.
So, introductions. I am Mayor Strongheart, Lord Chief Justice of the British Empire.
What if there was someone else? Another lawyer from Japan, I mean. It's me. I can do it.
So, you're willing to put those words to trial, are you? Well, I'm all for entertainment. You have your wish. I'll give you a chance. A test to become a specially certified lawyer. Whether you pass or fail is entirely down to you. Your timing is perfect, in fact. There's an apt trial about to begin later today. No advocate has been appointed for the defense as yet, so this will be welcome news. If the defendant is found guilty, he will, of course, be sentenced to capital punishment. So have fun.
Top of the morning to you, madam. Sir? Oh my gosh. What is this, the Mad Hatter? Although it is a little strange, to be honest. Why, you don't have a lawyer, I mean. That would be the fault of the Reaper. I, the Grim Reaper of the Bailey, Lord Barrack von Zieks. He's the prosecutor. What is up, everybody? I am the Story-Driven Gamer, and welcome to the channel. Today, we're going to continue with the Great Ace Attorney Adventures. So, in the last episode, we finally made it to London. It's really nice. It seems to be winter. Don't know if it's like Christmas yet, but it's, you know, wintry scenery. So I hope we get to see more of that throughout the game, or especially this case. In the last one, we just we went to the courthouse to meet the, what's his title, the Chief Justice. This big intimidating guy. And after I recorded, I realized his name was like, what was it, Male Strongheart? So his first name was basically pronounced, you know, male, like a man. And Strongheart. So I think the point was they gave him the pun, I guess, if you will. There is like give him a big, strong, manly name. I meant to go to the court record because I was gonna look up. Oh yeah, I also want to read this guy's thingy, his bio. But yeah, this guy, he's cool. I like him. He looks very evil. He could be a bad guy down the line. I feel like a lot of like the powerful people in these games are like the. He kind of reminds me a little bit, his presence anyway, reminds me of, what's his face? Was it Gant? I think that was his name from the very first game. And he was like the chief of police, and he was very corrupt. So hopefully that's not the case with this guy, but we shall see. And then yeah, so we basically just told him about Kazuma, although he already knew what happened to Kazuma, that he died. And we asked him if I could take his place. And he basically provided me with a test to see if I am worthy of being a lawyer. So I have to defend this guy, Magnus McGilded. See, that name alone sounds very Irish. But yeah, so we're defending him. I'm trying to give him a bit of an Irish accent. That's kind of the vibe he gives off. With the top hat and top of the morning to you. So, that's what I'm going with. But yeah, so that's really all that happened. The last episode was basically set up for the events that are to come. It is weird, because, like, I'm going to check one more thing. If we go to, let's say I'm not going to save. Let's say I want to save. Yeah, see, it's still... Oh, no, now it says Trial Part 1. Okay, it's switched over now to Trial Part 1. When I started the... Yeah, see, up there, you can see the first save up there. It says Investigation Part 1. But then, we haven't, like, entered a new chapter or anything. We're still in the same chapter, but it did change now to Trial Part 1. So maybe that was a little, slip. Maybe they didn't want to give away that we're starting with the trial again. I don't know. But yeah, so I expected to, go back to the normal, investigate a little, then a trial... Then maybe another investigation and trial, but nope, it's jumping us right into a trial. But I figured the setup took about like an hour, so I figured I made the last one. Last one was a short episode, but we got the setup, and now we're jumping right into the trial. So, enough talk, let's roll. 18th of February, 10 a.m., the Old Bailey courtroom. Ooh. Oh my gosh, why are there so many people up there? No, I don't want to voice all of them at once. Too much overload. So this is the highest court in Great Britain, the Old Bailey. The centuries of history in this place is palpable, isn't it? It's so different to the Supreme Court in Japan. It feels both imposing and serene at the same time. The atmosphere almost makes words redundant. Whatever the country, determining a person's guilt or innocence is always a solemn affair. But we gotta do it. May I say something, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, yes, what? Your eyes look ready to pop out of your head again. It just happens. I can't help it. I know, but I just can't help it. We think alike, Naruhodo. Oh my gosh, Dracula. Oh gosh, and Santa. We got Santa Claus and Dracula. Oh boy. So I mean, he's just gonna get the voice he gave the judge in the last one.
In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. We are here today to determine the guilt or innocence of Mr. Magnus McGilded. I now call upon the counsels of the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is fully prepared. Oh my gosh, what to give him? That's what was his name? Von Zieks or something? That must be the Reaper of the Bailey. He really does look fully prepared to dispatch his next poor victim to the underworld. Counsel for the defense, you appear to be Eastern. Do you speak English?
Huh? Oh, okay, it's on to me. Huh? Yeah. Oh, yes, of course. But he asked if the defense was ready. And I couldn't be further from ready if I tried. Just fake it till you make it, Ryunosuke. That's how these games always go. Oh, he's so cool looking too. He looks like Dracula, I'm not gonna lie. So, he doesn't look like intimidating. So, I mean, I kind of want to give him like more of a... Nah, I don't want to... I could be goofy and try and do like a Transylvanian accent. Nah. Those eyes please me, Nipponese. I don't know. Should I feel that out or should nah? I feel like I won't be able to take him seriously if I give him a Dracula voice. Those eyes please me, Nipponese. They shroud your fear, your doubt, your trepidation. They run wild, clinging to some phantom notion of courage. The quintessential look of a sacrificial lamb. Ugh. A cold shiver just ran down my spine, all the way to the tips of my toes. He's gonna be a tough one.
Now, Mr. McGilded.
Yes, my lord?
You stand accused of murder, a capital offense. You could be sent to the gallows if found guilty. Are you quite sure you wish to entrust your defense to this foreigner?
I don't have much of a choice. As I've always said, my lord, 'tis a grand thing to give opportunities to the young. Even if the fella is a student from some little island off in the Far East. Is it not the British way to ignore the dangers to yourself and give those less fortunate a fair chance? I'd like to think that acts of chivalry do the great British Empire proud.
Listen to Mr. McGilded.
What a fine gentleman London has in him.
Did you hear that he donated £5,000 to the government the other day?
Mother, please, may we go and play in Gilded Park? It seems as though everyone in the public gallery is firmly behind Mr. McGilded. Yay, that's good, I guess. That's definitely welcome news, and he certainly has a way with words. I'm surprised he couldn't convince anyone to defend him. It's all due to the Reaper.
Shut up! Everyone, eloquently put, Mr. McGilded, and most laudable sentiments. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I'm sure I need hardly remind you that you 6 members of the public have been selected for your impartiality. Are you ready to proceed?
Wait, they're a jury. Have we ever had a jury in any of the... I don't think so, right? I remember in the crossover game, you got testimony from multiple witnesses, but we never had like a jury. Ooh, this will be fun. Maybe.
Yes, my lord. If the task is to send rotters to the gallows where they belong, I'm more than ready.
At the manor, his lordship always says we should dispose of rubbish promptly. Naturally, I agree. Give her like a deadpan voice. Ha! Any criminals here will be seen by me wishing they never set eyes on me. Okay. Oh, that guy's...
I feel a chill.
Oh, don't mind me, my dears. I'll just be getting on with my knitting. Must finish these mitts for my grandson. Mr. Naruhodo, those people are... The jury, yes. That's something we don't have in Japan yet. That's right. I've only ever read about it. And apparently you don't get one, because even in the modern Phoenix Wright games, well, you know, the ones that take place in the present, there's no jury. But here in Great Britain, the court's final verdict depends on the opinions of these 6 jurors. The judge passes sentence according to the law, but the jurors determine guilt based on common sense. So the defendant is ultimately judged from 2 completely different points of view. But how exactly do the jurors give their verdict? That I don't know, but they just guess. I'm sure it will become clear as the trial progresses. We got this. Yeah, we got this. Yes, let's do it.
Prosecutor Van Zieks.
My lord.
It's been a number of years since we've seen you here in the courtroom. I thought you'd announced your fame.
I'm known as the Reaper of the Bailey, my lord. Infamy rather than fame, I would say. But yes, 5 years have passed since I last spread my wings in this capacity.
So, what brings you back? Is there some change of circumstance of which the court should be aware?
Look at him. Look at this guy. I leave that to your imagination, my lord. So, the Reaper has been out of action for 5 years. Why? Why did he have to choose today of all days to make a comeback? I know, really, right? Just your luck. I'm telling you, Ryunosuke has had the worst luck in this game. Don't lose heart, Mr. Naruhodo.
As you wish, sir. The court nevertheless welcomes your return. Now then, opening statements, I think. A summary of the case, if you please.
Certainly, my lord. As your lordship is aware, this is a case of overwhelming simplicity. We must be the only ones in here who aren't aware. Let me pull out the scroll. Hold on. The incident took place in the late evening, 3 days past. The hour was some minutes after 10. The victim was a maker of building bricks known as the community as 3-Fired Mason. Okay, so that's our victim there. Oh, he's got a funny looking hat. Sorry, thrice?
He was a very accomplished craftsman. The bricks he fired were said to be almost indestructible.
Ooh, okay. Got our first look at what happened. The victim's corpse was discovered in an omnibus in service on the streets of London at the time. Okay, so he's got just stabbed in the stomach. That's all we really see. Slumped over. And I assume that's the carriage that we heard about. Or actually, he just said an omnibus. A dagger that has been thrust into the victim's abdomen is believed to be the ultimate cause of death. Here's the autopsy report from the investigation medical officer at Scotland Yard.
Thank you, counsel. I shall accept that and the photograph as evidence.
Okay. Autopsy report. A report prepared by the Scotland Yard coroner gives the cause of death as internal hemorrhaging as a result of a single stab wound to the abdomen. Okay, internal hemorrhaging, so an internal, wound as a result of single stab wound to the abdomen. Okay. And the photograph. A photograph of the victim taken on the omnibus. The knife in his abdomen is clearly visible, but his face is partially obscured from view by an old crooked hat. Okay. But I feel like the fact that they specifically brought that to our attention, that it's partially obscured, means something. Either there's some mark on maybe his face that's hidden, or maybe it's not him. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where they're going with that. Let's look at that a bit closer, though. Okay, we have our armband. So, thrice-fired Mason, age 54, a brickmaker, time and cause of death, 15th of February, so between 10 and 11, so a 1 hour time period. Stabbed once in the abdomen with a knife whilst journeying in an omnibus. died due to internal hemorrhaging resulting from the trauma. And then, I mean, this will just show us the picture again. I don't think there was anything specific. Oh, look at that. A button is missing. That's definitely not a coincidence. We'll keep that in mind. I'm just looking for kind of, obviously, other than the stab wound, I'm looking for other things that might be on him, but I don't see anything else. But that, I feel we're going to maybe find that button. Okay. And people. Okay, so we got him. Did I read this? The defendant in this case, he's an incredibly wealthy philanthropist with a wonderful reputation in London. I'm to defend him as a test of my worthiness to become a lawyer. Then we got Barak von Zieks, 32. Okay, not that old. A prosecutor known as the Reaper of the Bailey. Supposedly, the souls of those he prosecutes are eternally damned, one way or another. He's cool as well. These two, man. Him and him. And then this old guy. Thrice fired Mason. Okay, he is 54. The victim, a skilled but poor brickmaker who lived in the East End. Okay, let's keep going. And one further item of evidence. The prosecution wishes to submit these as well. And these are... Good lord! Is that blood, counsel? Yes, my lord. Seized by a policeman who arrived at the scene. These gore-soaked gloves were taken from the hands of the accused when he was arrested. What? Mr. McGilded's gloves have blood on them? Okay, that's pretty damning. What do you have to say for yourself, Mr. McGilded? Yes, I'll accept these as evidence as well. Okay, that's a pretty good piece of evidence for them, for the prosecution. The leather gloves the defendant was wearing at the time of the incident. There was a blood stain on the right glove. Hopefully he didn't do something stupid like he was there and touch the body. How did I get into this? That's what I want to know. Okay, we're going to take a look at that. This probably if I examine. So let's see. This is definitely blood, isn't it? Not the most pleasant sight to be confronted with on our first day in London. Well, nothing will come of grumbling now. No. By the way, is Mr. McGilded right-handed? Yes, I believe so. He was toying with a coin in his right hand a little earlier. Ha! Well, I think he's going, ha, pity. If only he'd been left-handed. I think blood on either glove would be fairly incriminating, really. Yeah, I don't think it really matters whether he's a righty or lefty in this case. Nothing in his gloves? Okay, I think that's it, just the blood. How did I get into this? I don't know, Vianosuke. I'm backed into a corner before I've even started. Continuing. According to the driver of the omnibus, there were only 2 passengers traveling inside his vehicle at the time. Only 2. Obviously, one of those passengers was the deceased brickmaker, Mr. Mason. The other was the accused, Magnus McGilded. See, I can point to. They're like, oh my gosh. Oh, well, rather damning circumstances, to say the least. Aren't they always? It would be too easy if it was easy to defend them. Defendant, what say you? Would you like a taste of me Lucky Charms? Well, of course. I have no recollection of such a thing. Mr. McGilded. To be sure, I rode the omnibus that evening. But whenever I'm in a carriage, I'm taken with a fierce tiredness, and I always succumb to it. Are you claiming to have been asleep? 'Tis the motion of the carriage, my lord. Lilton? Lilton, so it is, and when I opened my eyes again. 'Twas a desperate sight before me. The body of a man I'd never laid eyes on before in my life. Yeah, I gotta say, I'm one who falls asleep pretty easily, especially in like a long car ride or something, or a train ride or something. I get pretty drowsy myself. Now I ask yous, what a good-hearted soul wouldn't rush to help a fella bleeding from his stomach? I wasn't about to start worrying about me gloves now, was I? I reached out to give the man a hand. So the blood got onto the gloves then, after the man had been killed. Unfortunately, you're a lying piece of crap. That statement to the drivers is only the beginning. What? That's not all of it?
Yeah, I can dust slam too. Take that. What of it? There were multiple witnesses to the precise moment at which the brickmaker was fatally stabbed.
We got quite a jury here.
Order! Order! Order!
What the heck is that?
When the killing took place, only the victim and the accused were inside the carriage. And there were witnesses to the crime. This is not just a case of compelling evidence. It's the nail in the coffin for the accused.
Is it?
Thank you, counsel. The circumstances of the crime have been made quite clear. I think we will hear testimony from these witnesses first of all. Your wish is my command. Bailiff, bring the witness in at once.
Ah, man, I like him. Oh, another old man. Oh, gosh, there's a lot of them.
Witnesses, your names and occupations. My name is, well, everyone calls me Beppo. I drive an omnibus in the East End. Bruce Fairplay. I'm a banker in the city.
My name's First. Lady First. I make hats for gents.
Let's begin by confirming the facts. 3 days ago, at a short time after 10 o'clock in the evening, all of you present in the stand were in an omnibus and witness to the aforementioned incident. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Quite right.
Yes, sir. That's right, sir.
Very well then, let's proceed to your formal testimonies, please.
I'm telling you, this game is just throwing people at me.
Each of you will tell the court precisely what you saw.
Okay, first witness testimony. Or witnesses' testimonies. What the witnesses saw.
It was the last bus of the evening, so I had a few customers. I remember it well.
Okay, last bus.
The victim and the man accused of killing him were sat next to each other inside the bus.
Okay, so they were sitting next to each other. Okay.
Then, out of the blue, the accused just reached over and plunged a knife right into his guts. That's right. He stabbed him. I screamed, I did. Couldn't help it. As soon as I heard the scream, I stopped my bus, and then I saw it too.
Okay. Exactly.
Unambiguous testimony, I must say. That sounds pretty damning. Exactly, my lord.
These men witnessed the incident in the omnibus with their own eyes. Ah, man, it's always like, again, they always make it so that's like on surface level, like on paper, it's like, how could he possibly be innocent, right? But there's always some kind of trick. I'd like to ask a question, if I may.
Yes, counsel? Go on.
Well, this testimony makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever.
Why not? Are you scared, Potter? I mean, what? Ryunosuke?
Well, the incident took place inside a moving carriage, didn't it?
As has been clearly stated from the outset, yes.
Well, in that case...
Bam!
How could those two witnesses possibly have seen what happened? There's no way they could have seen the inside of the moving carriage. Okay, were they not in the carriage? I assume they were in there. I mean, you're right. Honestly, I don't know exactly what an omnibus is. In this case.
How quaint, silly boy. I'd read that the civilization in the Eastern Island nations was a good century behind our own. But you're here in London yourself. Are you really so ignorant about our omnibuses?
Huh? Okay, so... Okay. So he doesn't know either what an omnibus is. I'm assuming an omnibus was, you know, a bus. A type of bus. Tell me, Mr. Nipponese friend, have you even traveled in an omnibus? Well, no. We, only arrived in London this morning. We just took a good old-fashioned boat and a train. No matter. Let me explain to this ignoramus. I've arranged for us all to see for ourselves the actual scene of the crime, that is. What? Do you mean the actual scene? How? A carriage is designed to be moved, after all. Presumably you understand that much. Yes. The omnibus in which this bloody crime took place is here today in this very building. Oh, cool. So is this gonna be like an investigation within a trial? Okay, that I don't think has ever been done before. That's cool if that's the case. Here? What? Are we making Phoenix Wright history? Or Ace Attorney history? The entire carriage? Bailiff! Bring forth the stricken omnibus! Okay, okay, we're literally just in the middle of the courtroom, okay. So that's an omnibus. The omnibus. I mean, still from the outside, it still looks kind of small. But I guess it could tightly fit a group of people. I can't believe they could bring something so enormous in here. Great Britain's courtrooms are amazing. As you can see, the omnibus is pulled by 2 horses and can carry up to 8 passengers. Okay, 8 passengers. Okay, so they could have clearly been in there. 4 passengers seated inside in the enclosed cabin, and another 4 on the rooftop deck above. Okay, 4 on the bottom, 4 on top. Every Londoner knows that the best views of the city's architecture and sights are to be had from the top of an omnibus. That makes sense, especially if it's like a tour. I don't know if it's for tours or what, but... And I should point out to our foreign guests that there is a skylight in the roof, allowing a view of the interior from the seats above. Ah, skylight. Oh, crap! The penny drops at last, I see. So I guess the point is that they were... I guess they were probably seated up above, and they were able to look down and see it happen. Oh, I already have an idea, maybe. So, we know that the victim was wearing, like, a giant hat. Again, I don't know the details, but if you're seeing from above, you'd only probably be able to see the big hat. In fact, they both are kind of wearing, like, top hats, so from a top view, there's a chance that maybe one or neither of them are the same people. I don't know. We'll see. These 2 gentlemen were occupying the rooftop seats on this omnibus when the murder took place. Oh, that's right. The other guy's a bus driver. Right, so these 2 were on top. That is how they came to witness the grim incident. Through the skylight. That makes perfect sense, unfortunately. Well, counsel, this is a first. In all my years behind the bench, I've never experienced the crime scene itself being brought into the courtroom. Me neither. There are a number of important clues remaining inside the carriage, my lord. I would like to submit the omnibus itself as evidence. That is the prosecution's wish. Oh, my toupee! Very well, I see no reason why not. This omnibus reminds me of my Slade back in the North Pole. This omnibus is hereby formally accepted as evidence. Okay, so just the omnibus itself. The 8-seater omnibus that was the scene of the crime. There were passengers both inside the carriage and on the roof deck that night. Cool. Okay. So can I just, like, examine it like a normal object? Oh, I can. Okay. Let's examine the sign. Oh, wait. What? Oh. Okay. Okay, we're examining the seats above. You can certainly see inside the carriage through this opening, that's for sure. Yes, and there's a lamp in the enclosed cabin. So I'm sure the witnesses would have been able to see quite clearly. That's not good for us. They might have been able to see inside that good, but probably not the victim and the defendant themselves. Well, let's open the door and go inside, shall we? Ugh, the scene of a murder. It's horrible. Dang, we are literally like... Yeah, we're literally doing an investigation kind of during the trial. Okay, we got a notice. That's a poster for the great exhibition that's due to start 6 months from now. There's a lot of focus being drawn to the Crystal Tower, the centerpiece of the whole exposition. Oh, the Crystal Tower. It's under construction already, I believe. People all over London must be fizzing with excitement at the prospect of such a grand event. Cool, okay. There must be some significance to that. Here's the blood stain. That's blood that's soaked into the seat. The victim's, obviously. Yes, and that seat would be clearly visible from the roof deck. Would you really stab somebody in full view of the other passengers like that, I wonder? Well, it was after dark. And there was a lamp on in here, so perhaps the culprit couldn't see anything outside through the skylight. Whichever way you look at it, it doesn't seem like it was a planned attack. Interesting. Very interesting. Here's the door. I don't know if that'll take me out or anything. It's quite a large skylight, isn't it? Yes, quite large enough to afford a good view into the cabin from the roof deck. And there doesn't appear to be a handle or catch of any description. So I suppose it can't be opened from inside the cabin, at least. Okay, so you can't get out that way. Anything over here? He's got these seats. This seat looks reasonably soft, but it's actually rather hard when you sit on it. And only just wide enough for two gentlemen to sit side by side, really. Of course, an English gentlewoman would be dressed in such finery. It would be quite impossible for her to climb up to the roof deck, so she would have to be seated in here. A woman in a kimono would have the same problem. Women's clothes are very impractical, aren't they? They're made for fashion, Ryunosuke, not practicality or comfort, I guess I meant to say. Oh, what's this poster about? Ah, that's a poster for the great exhibition that's due to start. Okay, is that the same dialogue? Okay. Okie dokie. That might be it. Apart from the door. Have you seen enough? Let's step... Okay. So, we're just gonna... That just, as I thought, that just brings us back out. I think I got everything in there. I think that might be it. Okay. Oh, did I read that? I can't believe it. The whole crime scene entered as evidence. Yes, Great Britain is simply extraordinary. I could help myself a lot by giving that omnibus a thorough examination, seeing as it's here. Let us continue with proceedings then. Your cross-examination, counsel. Pray, don't expect this Nipponese stray. Is he saying Nipponese? I don't know what he's saying. At first I thought he was just pronouncing my name wrong. Nipponese stray to understand the intricacies of a British court cross-examination rights. Oh, deep breath, Ryunosuke. Don't let him get under your skin. You got this. Just like last time. Alright, my first cross-examination in a British court. Slap! Let's do this! Focus, Ryunosuke. Focus! Yeah. Me versus Zieks. And the witnesses. Okay. So first let me see. So we got the autopsy report, crime scene photograph. He does seem to be sitting in the same seat. Like you can see the corner of the notice up here. And he's in the right, or if you're looking at it, the right seat. That's in line with, you know, when we examined the carriage where the bloodstain was. Got the gloves and the omnibus itself. I just want to go through it and see if there's anything that I can immediately, you know, present. The victim and the man accused of killing him were sat next to each other inside the bus. Then out of the blue, the accused just reached over and plunged a knife right into his guts. That's right, he stabbed him. I screamed, I did. Couldn't help it. As soon as I heard the scream, I stopped my bus and then I saw it too. Wait, that doesn't even make sense. I mean, I guess unless he was in the process of stabbing him.
Hold it!
What exactly did you say?
Oh, well, sir, that would be the passenger, sir. Yes, collapsed on the floor he was.
And by the passenger, obviously you're referring to the victim, Mr. Mason, the brickmaker.
And then the other passenger had the knife in his hand, like this.
By the other passenger, obviously you're referring to the accused, Mr. Magnus McGilded. Be more specific, man.
And then he plunged it down like this, stabbing the other passenger in the belly.
That's wrong. Actually, is it? No, it was in the belly. I'm a dum-dum. I was thinking it was in the chest, but... Oh, okay. What did I give him again? My lord.
Juror number 3, what's the meaning of this?
Yeah, I was gonna say, jurors can't just shout out, speak out during a trial. You numbskull.
My mind is made up, my lord.
Completely and utterly made up. Made up about what? Why's he allowed to bring a knife, too?
I don't like the stinking rich. Never have. They're always up to something or other that they shouldn't be. Every one of them.
And that little leprechaun of a man is no exception.
Well, he can't fool me.
Okay, what? That's how this works? We're literally tipping the scales of justice?
There's no point wasting time listening to any more of this. That's my opinion on the matter anyway. That is precisely what I was about to say.
Uh-oh, this isn't looking good.
As the foreman of the jury, it's my duty to set a good example to my fellow jurors.
No, stop it. I mean, I don't blame them. The evidence looks pretty damning, but what is happening here? Let me see. Ah, yes, it seems that's how the members of the jury give their verdicts. With fire? They're all firebenders. Apparently, yes. White for innocent and black for guilty. As the 6 members of the jury make up their minds about the case, one by one they each cast a ball of fire into the great scales of justice, as we saw a moment ago. What, they can just do it at any time? So if those enormous scales fall completely to the black side, does that mean... You're screwed, yes. Let's do our very best to make sure that doesn't happen. Now I'm even more worried than I was before. Don't worry, I'll throw some fire in the other end.
Very well. The court acknowledges the change in the jury's stance. Counsel for the defense, please continue with your cross-examination.
This is a nightmare. Alright, so when it happened, the only 2 people in the enclosed cabin area were the victim and the defense. I forgot that was a freaking, that I was just pressing him on a point. Huh. And so help me, 3 whole people witnessed the man I'm trying to defend to the deed. I don't like to be pessimistic, but we do seem to be in a rather difficult situation here. I know. What am I supposed to think here? Is Mr. McGilded really innocent? Or could it be... But before we jump to conclusions, our first task should be to gather information. We need to understand the case much better than we do at the moment. Yes, you are absolutely right, Suzato. Let's listen to those witness statements again, a little more carefully this time. Okay, I guess we can just go in order. Let's do them all. Yes. I think it was sometime after 10, wasn't it?
Oh, yes, sir. That's right, sir. Yes, ever so cold it was, sir. Freezing, in fact.
And you had 4 passengers on board at the time, is that correct?
Yes, that's right, sir. Not all traveling in the same part of the bus, of course, though. No. And there were no other passengers when the incident took place? No one alighted, for example? You're quite right there, sir. No other passengers like that, no. None.
Okay, I'm seeing this little bar up there. I think that doesn't that have to do with that that game mechanic they introduced in the first trial with where like you can kind of press one of the other witnesses during like if this guy's talking, if the guy next to him does something, I can then press him or something like that. It's been a while since that first case. So, nobody for the scene of the crime then.
I have to say, the boss insists on running. He does every evening, the last bus of the day. But I do wonder sometimes if it's altogether worthwhile. Yes, sorry to say.
What do you mean by that?
Well, with it being so cold and everything, and only making 20 pence on the run, you see? Yes, I spend that much at the pub on the way home, just trying to warm up again.
Okay. Good use of your money. Okay. The victim and the man accused of killing him were sat next to each other inside the bus. And you saw them through the skylight in the roof of the carriage?
That's right. When you shut up on the top deck, the window is right there at your feet.
Yes, we took a look at it earlier.
There was a lamp on inside, so I had a pretty good view.
Okay, exactly.
The two of them were wearing hats, and I couldn't exactly make out their faces, but trust me, it was them. I assure you.
Okay, I'm just taking a look at this image. I don't know if this is like an actual picture that he took or... Probably not, that would be weird. One thing I am noticing... Oh, never mind. He is missing the button there. Because first I was looking at his, the inner coat, the white coat there. I was looking at those buttons. And I was like, they're all there. But I see on the left side, he is missing a button there. Interesting. But yeah, you can't see either of their faces.
But there's not a shred of doubt in my mind that it was Mr. McGilded.
How can you be so sure?
Tell me. Well, how can I put it politely? McGilded is a gentleman of rather small stature. I could not have mistaken him for anyone else.
Just don't forget that when the vehicle came to a halt, the only people inside the enclosed cabin were the deceased Mr. Mason and Mr. McGilded. There's no room for doubt here. Ugh. I really wish there was. Yeah. Unless there's somehow some unknown, like... Because there's still 2 seats at the bottom that somebody could have been in, right? But... I don't know, like, what would they... How would these guys not have seen them in there? Then out of the blue, the accused just reached over and plunged the knife right into his guts. Okay. Definitely want to hear about this. You actually saw the exact moment it happened?
Didn't I already testify to that? Or a fair dinkum. Hard-working city bankers not considered trustworthy these days.
Fair dinkum. Oh, no. I didn't mean that. Calm your tits, sir. This is no good. I've really got his back up. Perhaps you could just tell us what you saw in a little more detail, if that's... My lord, if you'll forgive me the interruption.
Ah, juror number 2. Go on.
Mr. McGilded is a pillar of society and a gentleman, and a gentleman's word should be sacrosanct. However... No! Stop! Those of us in service know we must accept hard truths. Wait, what are you about to do? Dispose of the rubbish.
Die!
No! What is that, 3? No. I don't wish to cause offense, but I do like to eradicate all traces of filth and grime. No, not you too. I have painstakingly typed every word uttered here today and cross-referenced all the facts. As such, I am now in a position to draw the only logical conclusion. Damn it all! Like, is this supposed to happen? Not again. That's like 4 of them. That's 4 out of 6 jury members who proposed a guilty verdict. There are only 2 left. We've had it. Yeah, I was gonna say, what happens? Can they change their mind? Can they add fire to the other side and tilt it back? Like, if they change their mind throughout the course of the trial? Because if not, it's already 4 against 2. Every time I press these witnesses for more information, I just make the situation worse. Nevertheless, what we need more than anything at the moment is more information. We're still very much in the dark. I suppose I'll just have to keep pressing the witnesses, knowing that more sparks may well fly. We mustn't give up hope that we'll uncover something that will give us a way to fight back. But... alright, I'll keep trying. I can't give up. We gotta do this. I just need to keep calm and listen to the witnesses' statements again. Did I do it? Did I... No, I didn't press this guy yet. Okay, that's right. You stabbed him. I screamed I did. Couldn't help it. He stabbed him, you say? And you were sitting up on the roof deck, were you? Yes, that's right, sir. I was up on the roof seats. I remember seeing the little gent sitting next to the fellow that was stabbed. I've been thinking about a new hat design, you say? So I was just gazing absent-mindedly around. But then I happened to look down through the skylight. It was sticking right out from his belly, that huge great knife.
Humph. A grim sight indeed.
Ah, that didn't help me at all. Uh-oh, they're talking. Whisper, 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 whisper. He's guilty. He's guilty, right? You think so too, right?
Oh yes, absolutely.
What? What was that, Sonny? I can't hear you without my hearing aid. That appears to have made everyone even more dubious that Mr. McGilded is telling the truth. This isn't going well at all. If only we had some evidence to counter their suspicions.
Mr. First?
Oh. Yes, sir?
Is this the knife you saw?
Oh, good grief. Yes, that's it. That's the very one, sir. Is that...
Yes, counsel. This is the blade that was driven into the victim's belly like a stake through the heart. That is a blade of considerable size, counsel. It is, and furthermore, the scabbard is emblazoned prominently with a certain initial. The letter M, which seems oddly familiar.
Uh-oh.
Ugh, please, no. Dang it all. M for Magnus, perhaps? Or McGilded, possibly? Take you a pick. It seems this particular big name in London made a magnificent mistake. Oh, but there are M's everywhere. Like, yes. Like in Mason. That is true. Ooh, I like that. This blade is far too extravagant for a poor brickmaker to have owned. I guess. That makes sense. No, this weapon of murder almost certainly belongs to the accused. Ugh. Damn it. Huh. Not conclusive, but certainly compelling, counsel. Okay. A largish knife that was found lodged in the victim's abdomen. Its quality and fancy ornamentation suggest it must be quite valuable. My lord, I wish to speak. Yes, juror number 5. Do I take it that you too? As the master of the London Guild of Coachmen, the idea of a murder being committed in one of the city's carriages is utterly abhorrent to me. It wouldn't be right to make a decision before hearing all the facts, though, I said to myself. Okay, you're gonna tell... But, I've had enough now. The horse had bolted, as they say. Oh, no. No, please, just keep an open mind a little long. Gee up now, Silverblaze! The finisher's in sight! Ah, dang it! Beppo is a long-standing member of the guild, and I trust what the man says. Oh, thank you, sir. You're too kind, sir. I'm glad to have such an impartial jury at this trial, sir. Really? That's the reason? He's like,
I trust this witness's judgment that I know personally. Oh goodness, that's a Phoenix. That's an Ace Attorney game for you, but that's okay. Because we're gonna turn this around. One thing I want to do is I want to check the knife. A largest knife that was found large in the victim's abdomen. Okay, we read that, so let's just take a look at it now. Can we take the casing off? That part is the sheath, isn't it? Yes, that's what I meant to say. Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, sorry, yes, I just don't really like blades. Oh? Well, get used to it. You're gonna see a lot of them, probably. Those don't seem like the words of a man with a large katana slung from his waist. True. That's not a blade. That's Kazuma's soul, man. Anyway, there's no sense in delaying it. Let's see what the blade looks like. There's blood on it. Ugh, that looks like a lot of blood. A lot like blood. It surely is blood. The victim's. Can we do a DNA check? Even though they don't exist? What's DNA? Never mind. Ugh, an Englishman's blood looks like a lot like a Japanese man's blood. Do you think it wouldn't? Did you think it wouldn't? Sorry, it's just that we've only just arrived here in Great Britain. I'm finding it a little hard to adjust. I thought the blood was made of silver. That's like in Harry Potter, the unicorn. I thought all British people blood like that. Okay. Anything else? Okay, there's the M for Magnus. Now, it could also be a W. So let's keep that in mind. An ornate letter M. Undeniably Mr. Magnus McGilded's initial. And it's beautifully gilded, too. It must be very valuable, I should think. Ah. What is it? Look at this M. If you turn it upside down, it becomes a W. This could change everything. A W? Yay, I got it. I mean, assuming I'm right. Yes, this is one of those, you know, turnabout cases. I'm sure of it. I'm afraid I don't know at all. But what I am sure of is that this is an M. Oh. Well, that idea is quickly quashed. Oh, come on, really? There's no merit to that? I felt good about that. I'm like... But I guess they wouldn't bring it up so early and so easily if that was it. I don't know. I'm gonna believe in my heart of hearts that that could be a possibility. Ugh. This is too unkind, sir. Which now means there are 5 jurors agree to condemn this man. Hey, who's the one who hasn't voted yet? Oh, the old lady. Come on, you look nice, Grandma. I mean, I didn't say that. Don't hate me. Madam Juror number 6. I'm gonna sit here and convince you that you should vote in our favor. My dear, what can I do for you? You have heard the testimonies of the witnesses in the stand? Oh yes, I certainly have. Still got my hearing, you know. I don't remember why I'm here, but that's life. Then pray tell, why are you yet to pronounce your leaning? Well, dear, the thing is, I'm a creature of habit, me. I always go to the park at around this time of day and sit on a nice bench and get on with my knitting. He's like, okay. There's a lovely little park just near where I live. Gilded Park, it's called. Oh, she's a fan. The gentleman donated it to the city, you know, to put a smile on Londoners' faces, he said. I can't imagine such a fine young gentleman would have it in him to take another man's life. Yay! Go, old lady! He's always doing wonderful things for the city. That's right. A man like that wouldn't stab someone, surely. Mother, may we go to the Gilded Park Library later and borrow some more books? Yeah, turn that public opinion around. How many Londoners live with their heads in the clouds? Do you people not know? What kind of a man Magnus McGilded really is? Ooh. That's cool, I like that music. What kind of man is he? The philanthropist Magnus McGilded has enough wealth to purchase the entire city he claims to value so highly.
But where did all that wealth come from? Your client is a Shylock, sir, and one with the very darkest of souls, kinda like me. What? Stone the crows! McGilded lends money at an extortionate rate of interest so his victims have no hope of repaying him. When they default, he takes possession of everything they own. He is a vulture that preys on the weak. I've never heard any mention of that before. Your faculties haven't deserted you, I'm sure, madam. So has this thought not crossed your mind? Would a man wealthy enough to buy London in its own entirety not have a carriage of his own? Oh, you're saying that he owns this? What possible reason could this man have had to make use of a public omnibus service? You're not saying that the victim, a poor brickmaker, had next to nothing to his name, save considerable financial liability. It will come as no surprise that this creditor was the accused Magnus McGilded. But let it also be known that the very day Mr. Mason was killed was the final repayment date for his debts. Good gracious! The brickmaker was destitute. He had lost his house. He had not a shilling with which to repay his debts. But why would he kill this poor brickmaker? And in the end, this pitiful soul had the very last thing he owned taken from him. His life. By the merciless philanthropist pretender, Magnus McGilded. We still need a motive. What do you got to say, Susato? If I might add something briefly. Miss Susato? You claim that the victim had been lent money by Mr. McGilded. But where is the evidence to support your claim? I don't have any, I just made it up. Ah, grape juice. My favorite. I just remember that actually. I didn't mean to make the connection, but I remember the infamous grape juice from the Phoenix Wright games. Like, it's clearly supposed to be wine. I guess it's supposed to be wine, right? But I don't know why they did, but they dumbed it down and made it like it's grape juice. At least that's what I was told. Pray forgive the discourtesy of filling my hollowed chalice in a court of law. Aha! There it is! Lord Van Zieks' hollowed chalice! What does that mean? How can this be considered acceptable? But I find myself in an unexpectedly good humor. I mean, what's his face? Gatto was able to bring coffee and drink ample amounts of it. Did I read this? But I find myself in an unexpectedly good humor. Ha ha ha. See the smile on my face? I had heard ladies from the Far East could show great courage, but I didn't expect to experience it myself. Ah! As a judicial assistant to the defense, I am simply doing my job. What a pity that your display of courage is in vain. This is the debtor's ledge, which details all monies loaned by the accused. You will find the victim's name clearly recorded inside. Oh. Allow me to present this ledger as evidence. Would you like a sip, Ryunosuke? And pray forgive the discourtesy of raising my chalice in a toast to the enigmatic East at the same time. A marvelous toast, counsel. I will gladly accept this new evidence. Okay. Debtor's Ledge, a catalog of people who had borrowed money from the defendant at a high rate of interest. It includes the victim, who owed 20 guineas. Gonna take a closer look at that. Oh yes, 20 guineas. The victim owed a considerable sum. Take a look. Okay, so can we open it up? This portfolio must contain all sorts of secrets of London's gentry. Oh dear, do you really think we ought to look inside? Well, it's not as though we know any of London's gentry personally, is it? Apart from our great detective friend, perhaps. Are you talking about me? Sherlock Sholmes? Actually, I
I assure you he will not find Mr. Sholmes' name inside. Well, let's see what we find. Herlock Sholmes owes 10 million guilders, or guineas. Okay, so we can't actually really read it, but let's see. Gosh, it's crammed full of gentlemen's names, isn't it? Well, I suppose they're probably not all gentlemen at all, are they? After all, not everyone in this country is well off. Ah, goodness! What do you see? What is it? Look at this! Do you see the name here? Bruce Fairplay. Aha! Should that mean something to me? It does sound strangely familiar, actually. I believe that's our middle witness's name. Bruce Fairplay, the witness testifying at this very moment. Oh yes, of course, the banker. Why is his name in here? That's no quinky dink. Ah, he borrowed 20 guineas, did he? And look, the repayment date is fast approaching. It's possible that this is just a coincidence, of course. I don't believe in coincidences, but this could be very useful information. Okay, got an update? So, among the defendant's list of debtors is Bruce Fairplay, who would have been due to repay his loan imminently. Okay, anything else worth noting? I don't think so. Nothing else on the back. Okay. Coolio. I think I read that. And the accused made quite certain he had ample recompense. Oh dear me. Well, it would seem I've had the wool pulled over my eyes. No, don't do it, lady. Regrettably, madam, that is the modus operandi of the accused. And it's such a pretty little park, too. What a scoundrel. No. No, don't you firebend. Still. Maybe it's all for the best. Ah, wait a minute. Let's think about this a little more before... I don't stand for nonsense. Die. Yeah. That's the last one. So what exactly does this mean? That was it. The last juror's decision. This doesn't look good. Like what even happened now? Ah, according to this encyclopedia of British law that I just happen to be carrying on my person, when all members of the jury have concluded that the defendant is guilty, court proceedings are suspended, and the presiding judge will deliver the final verdict and sentence. That's what it says here. The final verdict. It's over then. Oh, is there more? There's a footnote, though. Footnote? Read it. However, the defense... I need to know. All 6 members of the jury are now in agreement in this case. No, let Susato speak. Allow me to convey my respect for your swift and righteous decision. According to the laws of this country, I will now conclude the trial. By delivering my final verdict, I trust there are no objections. Oh. Miss Susato, just tell me one thing. Oh, yes? You were in the middle of saying something before. The footnote in your Encyclopedia of British Law. However, the defense... Defense what? What did it say next? Oh, yes. Of course. One moment, let me just... Oh, I lost the page. Let me see. I'll get back to you on that. When all members of the jury have concluded that the defendant is guilty, court proceedings are suspended, and the presiding judge will deliver the final... I know. Get to the defense part. However, the defense has the right to demand a summation explanation of the jurors at this point. Oh. So am I going to basically question them? Summation examination?
Objection!
Or summation examination? From which century has that tome you have there been resurrected? Oh, that's not good. Judging from the binding, I would say that book is at least 50 years old. Any modern text on British law wouldn't even give such an antiquated
procedure of mention. It's a relic, a long forgotten and certainly no longer practiced. So, you're out of luck. Oh, pooh. Ah, we thought we were onto something. What even is it, Miss Suzuto? This so-called Summation Examination? Oh, one moment and I'll read about it. Let me see. Ah yes, page 3057. You would demand the right to a procedure before you even understand what it entails? Humph. Typical Nipponese. Alright, Mr. Naruhodo, I think I understand. It seems that under this procedure, we would be able to appeal to the members of the jury. To do what, exactly? Appeal to them to change their leaning and reverse their decisions. And it says here that, if successful, the proceedings of the trial must be resumed. Make them reverse their decisions? Yes, in times gone by, barristers would use a summation examination to attempt to influence the jury's decision. But that procedure became something of a formality with no practical benefit, really, so it rather fell out of use. Okay, fell out of use, but does that mean, like, it's not lawful? Like, we can't do it? I wonder why. Because it was devoid of purpose. Changing just one member of the jury's mind would be hard enough, let alone several. No self-respecting defense barrister would even assert his right to try in this day and age, especially against me. Still, we're kind of in a pinch here. I don't see any mention of the procedure actually being formally revoked. Yes, that's what I was asking. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that although it might be antiquated and largely forgotten, it isn't yet extinct. What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? I say we go for it. Otherwise we lose. A summation examination. Our last possible option. Do we assert our right to carry it out or admit defeat? Nah. We lose. We lost. Let's wrap it up, people. Okay, no. We're gonna assert our right. Bam! The defense wishes to assert its right to a summation examination, my lord.
Objection!
What folly! London is the capital city of the most powerful nation on earth. We have a duty to the world to exemplify the very highest standards of judicial procedure. Summation examinations are an embarrassment that should remain buried.
Objection!
But if it's alright, it's alright. I believe it could prove vital in this trial. The defense's petition is perfectly valid. The court will proceed with the summation examination. This is madness. Foreman, are you and the remainder of the jury ready? Well, I'm not, about that. There was no mention of this in the letter I received, you see, so... All the members of the jury will ask to explain on what grounds they have reached their decision. On what grounds? You must all justify your decisions and explain why you believe the defendant to be guilty. Well, my lord, you are rather putting us on the spot. This is most irregular. No mention was made of this before. Oh, don't really hold with all the justifying lark. I'm busy typing. Go on. That seems to have thrown the jurors off. They didn't think that this would come back to bite them. It seems none of them have experienced this before. Alright then. The summation examination. A defense procedure no practicing lawyer has attempted for years, is it? Until now. Well, just maybe. It might be the opportunity we've been looking for. To turn this trial around. Let's do it. So be it then. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the court hereby calls upon you to state the grounds on which you find the defendant, Magnus McGilded, guilty of this most serious crime.